Okay, so question 1, we've got to decide if it's sine or cosine. If you look at these, you've got two sides and you've got a non-included angle. It's not the angle sat in between the two sides, basically here. So that means that it's a sine rule question. So I know that I need sine A over A because I'm looking for an angle, so I want the angles on the top. Is sine B over B is sine C over C. So if I call this A and little a, capital B and little b, this is C and little c, but I don't really need this, so I'm going to pretty much ignore this end bit. So sine A over A is sine B over B, so that means that sine 30 over 11 is sine x over 13. And all I'm going to do is bring this 13 off the bottom, so that sine x is equal to sine 30 divided by 11 times 13. Now that is equal to 0.590 if you put it in your calculator. It's recurring on here. But that's sine of the angle. So what we need to do is do the inverse sine. So sine to the minus 1 of 0.590. It's easiest just to use the answer button on your calculator. Just use that answer button and it will keep all the decimals in for you. And that's 36.22, which is 36.2 degrees because they've said to one decimal place. In question 2, we've got two sides and the included angle. It's in between the two sides. So that means it's cosine rule. So I'm going to need a squared is b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. I want to calculate AB, so I need the angle here to actually be A, because it's cos A in the formula. So I'm just going to change this labelling round to match what I need, which makes it a bit easier. So that means this side is little a, this side is little c, this one's little b. Then going to put in what we know. I don't know a squared, that's what I want to figure out because that's AB. But I know b squared is 9 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times 9 for b, 8 for c, times cos 43, the angle A. If I work all this out, that's 81 plus 64 minus 105.314933 if you put it all in your calculator. That means that a squared is going to be equal to, if you do that plus that, take away that, 39.685. But be careful that, well, there's some more decimals after that as well. It's a squared, I want just a. So I need to do the square root of the answer that I got on my calculator. Which gets you 6.2996, which to three significant figures, 1, 2, 3, is going to round up to 6.30 centimetres. Right, number 3 wants us to calculate the size of the largest angle. Now, the largest angle is opposite the largest side, so that means that's going to be this angle here. We've got 3 sides, so straight away I know it's cosine. So it's a squared, it's b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. I've got to have the angle I'm looking for as A. The other two, it doesn't matter. So, what I'm going to do then is substitute in the values that I know. So I know that 7.8 squared is equal to 5.4 squared plus 4.1 squared. Take away 2 times 5.4 times 4.1 times cos A. Now if you work out these first two bits here, you get, on this one, sorry, you get 60.84 is equal to 29.16 plus 16.81, take away, and if you do 2 times 5.4 times 4.1, you get 44.28. We've still got times cos A. What I want to do is get rid of all these things in turn. So the first thing I'm going to do is take away both of these two from both sides. So 60.84, take away 29.16, take away 16.81 will equal minus 44.28 times cos A. Now if I actually work this out, that's 14.87. That's equal to 44.2 or minus 44.28 times cos A. To get cos A on its own, I'm going to have to move this minus 44.28 times. It's a multiply here, so I'm going to divide both sides by minus 44.28. And that will get me cos A. So if I do this sum on my calculator, cos A is equal to minus 0.3358 ... some more decimals. But I want A on its own, so I need to do the inverse of cos to the minus 1, of minus 0.3358. Again, use the answer button on your calculator. And that's equal to 109.6222, which is 109.6 degrees to 1 decimal place, because that's what it asked for in the question. The final question has got 2 parts to it. We've got to find x and y. Now I've been given one side and 2 angles. I've actually been given all 3 angles in this case because I can easily work out this top one by doing 180 minus the other 2, just using your rules of angles, which is 59. So I've got all 3 angles and one side. That means I'm going to be using the sine rule. I'm going to start by finding x. So I'm going to call this A and little a. The one that's going to be useful to me is the other pair I know everything about, which is this one. So I'm going to call that B and little b. So I want to look for a side, so I want A on the top and sine A on the bottom. B over sine B. Put in the values that I know. So A over sine 71 is equal to 12.6 over sine 59, and A will be equal to, multiplying this off the bottom, multiplying both sides by sine 71. 12.6 divided by sine 59 times sine 71. Put that in your calculator and you get 13.898, which to 3 significant figures is 13.9. And it's centimetres because it's a distance. Part 2, I'm going to work out what y is. But all that really means is I'm just going to use this pair instead of this one. So that's C. So C over sine C is B over, B, small b because it's the distance, over sine B. So that's C over sine 50 is equal to 12.6 over sine 59. And again, it's just really the same type of question. C is 12.6 over sine 59 times sine 50. On your calculator, that gets you 11.2605. But again, to 3 significant figures, that's 11.3 centimetres.